everybody should have an HSA and just take that HSA to the max, because that really is going to give you an advantage over every other thing in the world. Okay, I could grow my money, get a deduction, get a tax break on it, grow it tax-free, and then pull that whenever I need to for medical expenses. I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer right there.
Welcome to the Family Office, planning for the people who matter most.
Aging parents, financing aging parents, unless you have anything else to say about DC, the inheritance gap. And I'll let you kind of lease into that, Len, because that's a big, important topic. I have some stuff we could go on that, but what's your thoughts on that? I know you wanted to bring that up today, talk about, aging parents and what an inheritance gap means and what that looks like and what challenges someone like you or I in your position or my position could be facing right now if you have parents that are coming into their 60s and their 70s or maybe even their mid-50s and they're not as healthy as they should be, or maybe even you're thinking for yourself, what could potentially be a pitfall there or a landmine there that somebody could avoid?
I think this is a really important topic because of the work that both of us do. And I think most people don't necessarily understand all of the options they have, because one thing that we as a country do terribly is deal with reality. Earlier, we talked about the difficulty of dealing with the reality of being fat or dealing with the reality of being sick. And the other thing that we don't do well is deal with the reality of chronic illness and death. And we think that it's not going to happen to us. We think that it's not going to happen to our parents. And because of that, we push the issue under the rug. And so what ends up happening is that right now, the elderly population is the fastest growing demographic. And what's going to start becoming part of the news cycle is an increasing number of people who have fallen in their homes and they end up dying, and people who are getting Alzheimer's, and people who are dying from just old age with diabetes and dementia and all of these age-related illnesses. And also we're going to be talking about the increasing cost of healthcare. And so when you talk about all of these factors converging because of this aging population, we need to start beginning to, I believe, become more proactive. And how do we begin to address these issues? And one of the things, that I would like for you to talk about, if you can, is, you have revocable trusts and you have irrevocable trusts. And I don't want to go into too much detail with that, but regardless of the type of trust you set up, what I'm starting to find in my field is that a lot of people are starting to ask me questions like, hey, what can I do to maybe even save money so that this doesn't hit me like a ton of bricks? I was never thinking about my parents getting old. I always thought they had the money to take care of it. But now I'm finding that they spend all of their money raising me and to make sure that I went to college and that I had a successful career. And now that they're older, I'm having to expend all of my wealth and resources to help them. And that's not even for me, and that's not even for my kids. So what are some things that we can do? And one of the things that we talk about from time to time is setting up an account within a trust. So it's like a savings account where you put money inside of that account and it begins to grow. And it's specifically earmarked for health related issues. And so if there's a hospital bill that comes up, the trust is there to take care of it. If there's an ambulance fee, or if there's home care that's necessary, both medical or non-medical, or if a parent needs to stay in a home like assisted living facility or a skilled nursing facility, instead of having to just come out of the pocket, there's monies that's set aside. And if it's set up as an irrevocable trust, well, then that trust could be passed from generation to generation tax free, so that now that fund is a perpetual fund. And so imagine having an account inside of a trust that also is an account that grows with the inflationary aspects of healthcare cost. So now you've got a way to begin to fight that by having a specific earmark for those family members. And so I just wanted to have a conversation with you about that and the importance of it, especially with you coming from the financial perspective of things.
I think the biggest secret with this is HSAs, and I don't think a lot of people talk about them. You're familiar with those, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because what HSAs do is they give you that triple whammy. Because you're getting the tax break when you put the money in it, right? Then your money is going to grow tax-free. And then when you can pull that money out for medical expenses, it's tax-free. It's a triple advantage. And that's the thing that, everybody gets a Roth IRA, but everybody should have an HSA. And just take that HSA to the max, because that really is going to give you an advantage over every other thing in the world. Okay, I could grow my money, get a deduction, get a tax break on it, grow it tax-free, and then pull that whenever I need to for medical expenses. I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer right there. Because HSAs cover vision, they cover dental, they cover family planning, they cover chiropractic care. There's so much, and you could look at it. It's IRS 502 is the publication you can look at for HSA governance. And it's absolutely massive on how that works. So to me, it's, if you're a business owner or you're an entrepreneur and you're starting to run a business, the fastest thing for me is, number one, is get everything out of your name as fast as you can, right? And get it into a trust or a corporation. And this way the trust controls the assets. Or the corporation provides your income, right? Because to me, and I don't know if this is something you do, corporation or a company, you're an employer of that company payrolls you, and then you're also getting your health insurance benefits through your own company. Does that make sense?
You're the employee of the company, right?
Yes, I'm the employee of the company I own, right? And the company's paying my medical. I'm getting a health insurance plan. I'm getting a defined benefit plan. I have a 401k plan and a full benefit plan through the company that I work for. I'm not. You get what I'm saying? So everything goes through your own house, and you're able to control that, and you're able to do some really cool stuff with that, right? So to me, that's the fastest way to do it. Everything should be in a company's name. Everything should be in a trust name. It shouldn't be individual. The only thing you should do is get whatever set salary you want to do whatever you're going to do with yourself personally, which is maybe you got a couple personal credit cards. And I wouldn't even do an auto loan personally anymore. I'd have it all on a corporate credit now. I wouldn't do any of that stuff and get the write-off and whatever you're going to do, the weight write-off, either a Range Rover, a GL class Mercedes, a S-Class Mercedes. There's a few car, Rolls Royce, whatever. Range Rover is the easiest one to do because even though they're junk, because of the weight, right? A Sprinter, Mercedes Sprinter van. Range Rover is the most obvious one for everyone because they look nice. Everyone wants one, but they're junk.
G-Wagon too is another one.
G-Wagon, yes, awesome. G-Wagon, because you can get that, right? That weight right off, but put it in the trust. And the same thing goes for your medical expenses. Have the HSAs, have that plans in the trust, have the corporation in the trust. And this way, you do have a care budget set aside, and it's a spend down specifically for those expenses in HSAs. Also, at the same time, you can have private investments positioned in those trusts. No one touches it. It's only there for family medical expenses, and it's massively liquid, and it grows at a dividend rate or monthly rate. I think it's like Warren Buffett makes like 70 million or some obscene amount of money just in dividends a month or something. It's obscene amount of money he makes just in dividend stocks. It's just insane what you could do with that type of power, and I would be putting it out that way. The difference between revocable and irrevocable trusts, because I think you asked that earlier. I'm not an attorney, but revocable means you could change the trust or change it. Irrevocable means once it's there, you can't change it anymore, right? And so you got to be very careful with what you do there. So something for me, what we do is in the side, our land trust is a house that's owned for each child, and it is non-revocable, which means they cannot sell that house, lien against that house, borrow against that house, detriment to that asset. This way, if they ever screw up, they get in trouble, they always have an asset to go to and a house to live in. They're never homeless, right? And then they can, and then with the permission, there's guidelines within there. They can use that trust for certain things or that asset for certain things. But that to me is the easiest way to do it. And I started doing stuff like that about 2 years ago. As I got more advanced with capital or more advanced with income and understanding that HSAs are a big thing. That's my biggest thing for that with understanding that inheritance gap, because I watched my grandfather bled through $1.5 million in memory care just because there was no plan. It was cash, Len, cash money. And I look at it now and I go, and that was back in 2008. And I look at it now and I go, oh my God, we could have saved a lot of that capital for inheritance, which is exactly what he wanted to do for his grandkids, but he couldn't do it because the proper instruments and the proper protections were not in place to grow, protect that wealth, and delineate that wealth correctly towards medical expenses.
Yeah, it's so important to think about those things, because we often think and project our own wealth. We also project about what our kids are going to do, but we don't necessarily protect on the defensive side. And the defensive side is, hey, at some point in time, my body is going to break down. At some point in time, my parents' bodies are going to break down. And we want to delay that. That's why we bring up health topics every single time we come together. And we also bring up financial topics so you can prepare for those things. The main issue is that when we play offense and defense, that's when we can win, as opposed to waiting until something happens and then we play the reactionary game. It's never going to work out as well as it could if you prepare ahead of time. So Chris, man, thanks so much for sharing some of those specific topics, man. And I know that you have so much expertise in the financial area. So it's good to always listen and pick your brain about that.
I think the biggest thing that anybody can do, and I was just talking to somebody about this the other day, this is a client who's in their 70s. And he goes, you want to hear how crazy people are? And I go, well, he door dashes because he's bored, right? And he's got a small position. It's not too big, it's not too crazy, but it's a good amount of money. And he goes, this person just paid $9 for me to deliver a $1.25 piece of garlic to their house. I said, they're paying $10 more for this piece of garlic than they should have. And they're only a half a mile away from the house. And I'm going, I don't know what the reason is for that. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a babysitting issue. I don't know. But that to me is the financial habits of a lot of people. And we explained it when I first said, I ain't paying that extra dollars for that rush shipping. Unless they give it to me for free, I better get that stuff for free. I ain't paying for it. But I think the biggest thing that anybody can do today is, if you're making over $100,000, definitely if you're making over $150,000, you need to stop going to H&R Block. You need to stop going to Jackson. You need to go see a tax strategist. That's just my thing. Right away. A tax strategist, right away. Someone, you can look them up all over the place. That would be my biggest thing. And get somebody that understands just some portfolio management, and get a good insurance agent, and get some good people in your corner and your team, because you need those people to help guide you through the nuance, because it changes so much every day. I think it really changes every 90 days. It's like you never know. So that would be my biggest thing for anybody there. So it's going to be a pretty interesting week, Len, unless you have some more value to add to that. It's going to be an interesting week. There's a lot of good stuff going on, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens this week, so we can talk about it next week.
Yeah. Every week is always something new and something fresh. So I enjoy having the conversation about health and wellness, and also throwing in the current events, because it is juicy times right now, man. That's for sure.
Yes. And with that being said, guys, thanks for joining and for watching. If you enjoyed this, we'd love to hear your comments in there. If you want to see something else, you want to see us two crazy people talk about stuff, then let us know. We're more than happy to do it. But until then, always a pleasure to talk to you and be with you, Len. And here's the best part. Regardless of what we talk about, we love it and we enjoy it, because we're friends afterwards and we're business partners afterwards. And we're going to go and enjoy life afterwards and go, that was some pretty funny stuff right there. Because at the end of the day, you and I are going to control our circumstances, because we are not victims of our circumstances. We are masters of our circumstances. So with that being said, never above, never decide. Appreciate your Len, always, all the time. See you guys on the next one.
Take care, man.
Conversation has given you clarity on your next steps. Please share this episode with someone who's walking the same path. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss future episodes. And remember, planning ahead isn't just prudent, it's an act of care. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on The Family Office.